work on. Hello, I got your morning coffee. Now, hello. Today we will be talking about a series I really enjoy and love, and that is LPS Popular. Yippee! Yippee! I got an actual LPS I have. This is one of the newer ones. I got it at Five Below. I used to have one from like the height of LPS. It was like a lizard or one. It was a small one. He was green and he had the little magnet on the bottom of his foot. This one doesn't. But it has Luis. I love the little sound it makes when you move it around. This is going to be a video about my thoughts, questions, and concerns, and opinions and theories about LPS Popular. Because I, low-key have hyper-fixated on LPS Popular for quite a few months now, so... And I also first watched it when I was a little kid, so it's pretty nostalgic for me. Okay, let's get into it, but first... What is LPS Popular for the people who aren't familiar? LPS Popular is a YouTube series made by Sophie GTV. Oh my gosh. The first episode came out like 10 years
Actually,
ago.
it was like 14 years ago.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So much time has passed. I miss the good old days. But anyways, the plot of LPS Popular is that there's this girl. She's a dog. Her name is Savannah. And one day, Savannah is told by her parents that she's going to be going to a new school called Orange County Day. And she's like, oh my gosh, my friend Brooke from my childhood goes to that school. Maybe we'll meet each other and become friends. So, yeah, her parents and her move. They go to the new school, and she eventually meets her old friend Brooke at the school after, like, meeting two other girls named Jenny and Lena, which their names are short for Genevieve and Angelina. So, yeah. She finally meets Brooke later during the day, her first day, and she's like, oh my gosh, Brooke, I missed you. But Brooke doesn't seem to miss her. Brooke is like, no. Who are you? I don't know you, blah, 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 blah. And Savannah's like, oh, but no, but you do remember me. We're friends and stuff. So, like, Brooke's like, okay, we'll talk later and stuff. So, later comes during lunch. Brooke brings her to a place where they can be alone. And she's like, you suck. I don't like you. You're ugly. Bye. Don't talk to me. And Savannah's like, oh no. So she goes to her friends. She's talking with her new friends from school. She's talking with them. They're like, hey, let's get a makeover. They get the makeover. And Savannah becomes super pretty and starts getting more popularity. And then the show goes from there with Savannah and Brooke being enemies and battling for their popularity and stuff. It's very interesting for a show that's was made for kids in the early 2000s. So yeah. Okay, now that I've given a summary of the series, let's get on to our opinions, or well, my opinions, not yours. On characters. So let's start with the main character, Savannah Reed, or Savvy for short. My opinion on her, she's cute. She's fine. She's pretty nice, but she is a little dumb. She's kind of dumb. Like, there are some situations where I really think she should use her brain more. Like, for example, when Savannah first start crushing on Brooke's boyfriend, Sage. And she's like, I don't know, guys. I don't think I should pursue him. And her friends are like, you should do it anyways. Like, one, why are you promoting this girl being a homewrecker? What? Too savvy. Why are you going through with it? Like, one, you already know that Brooke is a mean person. She's pretty mean, and she's doesn't really care about the fact that her actions hurt people. I don't think why would you not think that she'd be afraid to go after you and hurt you for trying to steal her boyfriend? Which, I mean, is literally what happens, and you should have seen that coming low key. And also the party of the century, where when after the party and they get into a little fight, she gets in a little fight with Brooke, and Brooke scratches her face. Why you got home after that party did you not tell your mom the truth? I get you don't want her to be worried for you and stuff, and you probably don't want your mom to be like calling the police or anything, but like it could have been pretty helpful later in the series, which I'll get back to that later on some of my opinions. But yeah, she's kind of dumb and she needs to tell the truth more often because it will help her a lot more. But yeah, other than that, she's pretty neat. So yeah, let's get to the next character. Savannah's parents. For Savannah's mom, I don't remember their names. I don't know if they have names. But for Savannah's mom, I actually really like her mom. Her mom's very sweet and like genuinely seems to care about her and be there for her. Even when she's mad at Savannah, she's still like very much there for her. And I really like that. I really like that she's an active parent who truly does care for her daughter. But I don't like her dad. Her dad is like rarely ever there, and I get that's because he has a job and he has to work, but like he's just not there, and then has the audacity to be confused and upset when crazy stuff starts happening. Like anytime he's around Savannah, he's either barely interacting with her or is screaming at her, and I don't really appreciate that. Like, I get that he can't really know the full context of what's going on due to not being there, but then maybe instead of yelling at Savannah when she gets into some form of trouble, ask for context, maybe? I don't know, I feel like that would be helpful. Next character is, Jenny. I have, like, 50-50 opinion about her, like, she's nice, she's sweet, she's kind, she's cool, but like she's low-key pretty delulu. Cause like, one, why are you being a homewrecker too? Like, I'm sorry, but like something about Jenny is that like I don't get why she didn't think that after stealing Rachel's boyfriend, which Rachel is one of Brooke's friends, I don't think why she like didn't think that he'd be willing to cheat on her too. Like, if he's willing to cheat on one of the most popular and prettiest girls in the school, what makes you think he wouldn't cheat on you? Is my question. And the fact that you also like were trying to pursue him when he was already in a relationship after being told like, hey, is he in a relationship? Isn't that not the best idea? You are seeing in real time what happened to your friend after she tried to get with a guy who was already taken. Why would you think that's a good idea? I also don't like how near the end of the series when her and Lena get into an argument because like once Jenny gets with Rachel's boyfriend, Lena's constantly like, maybe it's not the best idea to be with him. He doesn't seem like the best person. I mean, he was willing to cheat on his ex with you before you guys officially got together and blah, 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 blah. And Jenny was like, no, he's cool, he's kind, I like him, I love him, blah, 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 blah. And then when he's finally starting to be a bad person towards Jenny. Jenny's going up to Lena like, I can't believe he would do this. And when Lena reminds her, hey, I told you this was a bad idea, Jenny has the audacity to get mad at Lena and accuse her of being jealous and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all this over a boy. Like, all this over a boy. Maybe it's because I'm sapphic, so I'm not used to being boy crazy, but like, I will never understand people like saying hurtful and nasty things to their friends over a boy, especially a boy that does not care for them. Okay, so next one, Lena. I like her character. I like how even though like Savvy and Jenny kind of got sucked into popularity a bit at some point, Lena didn't really seem to be doing that. Like she was pretty popular and smart, and I love her for that. Total girl boss energy. She's also really funny in the LPS Popular remake. Okay, next we're gonna get to Brooke. I love seeing Brooke, even though she's a bad person, and I don't condone like 90% of her actions. I kind of get where she's coming from, and I can like genuinely empathize with her a lot. Like, for example, like, wouldn't you not feel a little upsetty spaghetti if, like, a girl from your past that you haven't seen in such a long time came to your school, the school you've been, like, constantly fighting for years in order to gain popularity at, just comes to your school, out of nowhere becomes super duper popular, after being a literal nobody, a literal outcast on the first day, just becomes popular out of nowhere and pretty, and everyone likes her, and even your boyfriend starts showing interest in her while you guys are still together and stuff. I can understand why Brooke like had a vendetta against Savannah. Because low-key, if that happened to me, I'd be a little upsetty spaghetti too. Also, I'm pretty sure, like, it's very heavily implied that Brooke has mommy issues, which also explains some of her behavior. Other than that, she's very much an icon, and she's very interesting to watch. She's one of the most interesting characters to watch in the series. So I love that her and she slays. Okay. Rachel. I don't like Rachel. Like, it's not that I don't like her because she does bad things. I just don't like her because she's also kind of stupid. like near the end of season 1 of LPS Popular, Rachel finds out that Brooke was her boyfriend was cheating on her with Brooke, right? And multiple times in the series leading up to this, Brooke is constantly telling Rachel, like, hey, I don't think he's good for you. I don't know why you're so obsessed with that guy. Like, he doesn't seem like the best guy for you. Which I know is, like, Brooke is pretty fake for that, for, like cheating, helping her friend's boyfriend cheats. But also, like, she is not wrong for telling you he sucks and you shouldn't be with. But how are you gonna have all that happen to you? Be like, I'm not gonna be your friend anymore. Come on, Angelina. Wait. No, wait, no, not Angelina. Come on, Alicia. Let's go. And then the moment you find out something bad happened to Brooke, not even the worst thing, that just like she got into a fight and lost, you're like, oh my gosh, let's team up against Savannah and ruin her life. Which is kind of crazy because she's also one of the people who told Savannah about Operation Fry the Sausage, which, for context, if you don't know what that is a plan Brooke, Rachel, and Alicia came up with to ruin Savannah's popularity at a party that Brooke was hosting at her house. So yeah, Rachel was kind of delulu, a little stupid at times, but yeah. Alicia, she's the one who's supposed to be stupid, but weirdly enough, does the least stupid things compared to a lot of the cast of this show. So she's so silly and fun, and she's honestly not really all that mean. Like, low-key, if she just stopped hanging out with Brooke, she'd probably be a very, very good person. So yeah, I like that for her. She's a cutie patootie. Okay, Tom. I think he's cool. I like him. I like his character. But I really feel like it would have been a good idea to communicate the fact that Brooke was trying to blackmail him to Savannah. Like, I get that you might be worried that Savannah would be mad at you, or that if she wasn't mad at you, she'd be so mad at Brooke that she'd try to do something about it, and then Brooke would find out that you told Savannah, but like you could just talk with her about that. You can be like, hey, okay, Savannah, this is really important. I have to tell you something. Brooke is planning on ruining your popularity, and she's trying to blackmail me into helping her. But don't tell her I told you this, because if she knows, she's gonna hurt both of us and maybe even your friends. Blah, blah, blah. Just talk with her. Talk with her. You really need to talk with her. Okay. Next one is Sage. I hate Sage. I genuinely don't like him. Like, I could probably make a whole video about how I hate Sage, honestly. Like, one, I don't like how quickly he tends to fall for people based off of looks. Like, to the point where he's willing to just drop out of a whole other relationship. Like, when, Savannah first gets to the school and tries to talk to Brooke, Sage is right beside Brooke and just ignores Savannah and ignores the fact that Brooke is being mean to Savannah. And I get that that's your girlfriend, but like, it just feels so fake for you to go from literally ignoring your girlfriend, being what seems like unnecessarily mean to Savannah, only for like the moment Savannah gets slightly prettier, you're like, oh my gosh, I'll start being nice to her, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's even a part in the series in season 2 where Savannah and Sage finally get together. And she's like, hey, did you only get with me because, I got prettier? And he low-key kind of admits to that. He says something, I forgot what he said specifically, but it was something along the lines of, oh, well, your look got my attention, but I stayed for your personality or whatever. Like, ugh, please. I don't like that. And also, I don't like how naive he is. Like, this makes him seem more fake towards Savannah, because, like, at some point they work on a project together and they spend a whole day together, and then after Brooke finds out that they spend a whole day together, she gets jealous, so she creates lies about Savannah, being like, oh yeah, she has a contagious skin disease, and she's actually a mean bad person, blah 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 blah. And then Sage immediately believes her, and I get that, like, she did cry while saying those lies to him, and she doesn't really cry often, so it makes it a bit more believable, but like, it's still a little stupid, especially the skin disease one, because, like, you spent a whole day around her. If she had a skin disease that made her skin super itchy and have pus come out, you would have seen it. You were right beside her, giggling, kikiing, eating popcorn together. You had dinner with her and her parents, dude. Like, you would have realized that sooner. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Don't like him for that. And also when Savannah and meets Tom and they finally get together, Sage has the audacity to be jealous. You literally flaked out on a project you were doing with her, called her names, made her feel bad over a lie that you could have easily disproved if you just thought about how you were spending time with her before. Yet, when she's like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I won't fuss over a guy that doesn't like me. I'll just get with a guy that does. Now you want to be mad and start punching the lockers? Like, don't even. Don't even. I hate audacious people, especially audacious men. Um. Also, the whole thing with Brigitte, where Savannah was like literally telling him that, like, the reason she was breaking up with him in the end wasn't due to Brigitte, and yet he still had the audacity to blame her. And then when Brigitte's like, hey, maybe it's not that I have feelings for you, maybe you have feelings for me and you just refuse to admit it, he low-key indirectly admits it and just yells at her and tells her to get out his house. She's a foreign exchange student, and he can literally, because you're a family friend, where's she supposed to go? Kicking her out because you have a crush on her. and you got broken up with your girlfriend for something completely unrelated is crazy. And this also ties back to the whole Savannah being kind of stupid thing. Savannah, why didn't you just tell Sage that Brooke was forcing you to break up with him? Like, I get that you were worried that if Brooke found out that he knew, that could cause problems. But also, again, something in this series that these characters don't know how to do is just ask people to shut up. You could just be like, hey, Sage, yeah, so you know how Brooke is in the hospital because we fought and I kind of knocked her out and gave her a concussion? Yeah. She's suing me. Well, she's threatening to sue me if I don't break up with you. So we're gonna have to break up, Loki. And don't tell her I told you this, because she's gonna take this out on both of us. So yeah, like if you told him that, that would have avoided problems. But Loki, she, even though she didn't tell him why she was breaking up with him, she was like, hey, it's not because of Brigitte. It's not because of Brigitte. And so, like, Sage, why didn't you think that she was telling the truth? Because, before, before the whole fight and situation happened and Brigitte just got there, Savannah was okay with communicating if Brigitte made her feel uncomfortable or anything like that. So if she wasn't afraid to admit that, then why would she be so afraid to admit that her breaking up with you is because of Brigitte? Like, would you not think that it's because of some other reason? Especially since you know from experience that Brooke is low-key crazy. She's willing to do a lot to get whatever she wants, and that she definitely wants you, dude. Why didn't you, eventually piece pieces together? I don't know. Okay. Next is Brigitte. I like her. I actually really like her a lot. She's cute. I do think that Savvy was mildly overreacting at the beginning of season 2 when she was thinking that Brigitte had feelings for Sage, because her only proof of it was that, one, they were kind of close, and two, she gives him a kiss on the cheek. So that, the first one, out of context, that be you'd probably be like, oh, how is that overreacting? But with context, it's okay, about the first thing about them being close, they've known each other since they were kids. They're family friends. They're literally referred to each other as cousins, even though they're not related, because of how long they've been spending their lives together. So it makes sense that they're close, because they've literally forcefully been close from birth. Well, not from birth, but from childhood. And two, about the kissing, basically, Brigitte greets people by giving them a kiss on the cheek. So every time she sees someone she's somewhat close with, she gives them a kiss on the cheek, and when she's about to leave them, she gives them a kiss on the cheek again. She does not only do this for Sage, she does it to Savannah. Every time she sees Savannah. Which is why I feel like Savannah was kind of overreacting about it, because I get, the first time seeing it, being like, oh. But then after she gives you a kiss on the cheek, as soon as she sees you and as soon as she leaves you, you should have been able to piece together, oh wait, that's how she greets people. I get being overprotective of the guy that you've been, fighting tooth and nail to have, but, doing a little too much. And the fact that anytime anything suspicious happened before Brooke got back to school during season 2, she was always like, oh my gosh, what if it's Brigitte? You have a certified hater after you for literally existing, and your first thought when anything bad happened was that it was a complete stranger who you just met. That's a little silly girly, but it's okay. Okay, now on to wait, before I get to my theories, something I want to bring up is that I feel like the series could have handled a certain thing better. Trigger warning for EDs, eating disorders. I feel like they should have, if they were gonna keep in the eating disorder stuff about Savannah, they should have went about it a tad bit differently, because they do gotta go and take into consideration that most of the people watching the series were kids. I'm pretty sure Sophie knows this now, so yeah. But a lot of the people watching it were kids, and I don't know if they should be seeing in such great detail someone like straight up starving themselves. And I know that they're toys, like the characters are made like the characters are shown as toys, LPS toys. So like it's not super duper graphic, but like if kids were willing to get disinvested in a show where the characters were they're toy animals, then I'm sure that ED content in the show would have been enough for them to be like, oh, like genuinely think about it. And luckily, as far as I know, I don't think anyone has developed an ED themselves due to watching it. But I still think it's good to be careful with that kind of stuff. And if anyone decides to make an LPS series in the future where they want to touch on that subject, they should be pretty careful about that. Anyways, now on to theories. Theory number one, which is very popular in the fandom, is LPS Popular is a doomed theory. I low-key feel like at the very least Brooke has some type of feelings for Savannah, because like I get like why she'd be so upset at Savannah, but sometimes she was just a little too overly obsessed with Savannah to the point where it was kind of weird. And same thing with Savannah being a little too obsessed with Brooke. Like the way they hated each other at sometimes felt so obsessive to the point where it felt like it needed to be more than just because they both like the same guy or they both want to be popular, you know? Like, plus I think it would be a pretty interesting enemies to lovers. So yeah. Second one is a theory that I'm kind of passionate about, and that is so you know how in the story about the whole in season 2 Brooke and Savannah getting into a fight. If you don't know why, the reason they get into a fight is being over Brooke's former pet named Gigi or Mimi. She is a cricket, or is Gigi a girl? I don't remember the gender, so I'll just say they. They're a cricket. They're a little baby cricket, and they're so cute. And one day, like after the whole party of the century thing, I'm just gonna use Gigi and Mimi interchangeably, since both names are technically their name, I guess. But Gigi decides to leave because Brooke hasn't been so a good owner. She's kind of neglectful towards Gigi. So Mimi eventually gets lost and ends up near Savannah's house. Bruised and stuff because they got hurt on the way to Savvy's house. So Savannah finds Mimi near her house while she's skating. She's like, oh my gosh, you poor thing, let me come and help you. And she eventually kind of adopts Mimi. And Mimi grows an attachment to her because she's scared. They're scared that Savannah's gonna eventually like leave and not come back due to Savannah being like one of the few people that actually cheats Mimi decently. So Savannah comes up with the idea like, oh, what if I just bring her to school one day so she feels less scared and doesn't have to be alone. So she does, and Brooke eventually sees Savannah with the cricket, and she's like, oh my gosh, you have my cricket. So they get into an argument, and basically, after the argument, when there's no more people around, they start, Brooke starts beating Savannah up, and Savannah eventually fights back because Brooke is a cat, so she has sharp claws, and she literally digs her claws into Savannah's back. And Savannah pushes her off of her, but ends up pushing her into the lockers, which gives her a concussion and gets her in the hospital, and causes a whole situation where Brooke decides to take advantage of the fact that Savannah hurt her to ruin Savannah's popularity. So, yeah. And my theory for this situation is that Savannah could technically afford to sue, like, to be sued. Like, she could probably win the court case or whatever. And here is why. So, number 1. Savannah's friends, Lena and Jenny, are rich. They're very rich. not necessarily as rich as like Brooke, but they're pretty rich. So why doesn't like Savannah try to find a way to contact one of her friends and see if one of her friends can find a way to help her get a lawyer? Because like, can't her friends try to go up to their parents and be like, hey, since you're very rich and influential and know a bunch of other rich and influential people, do you know like if there's any good lawyers out there that might be willing to help someone in need right now? And do you know any ones that would be more on the affordable side and blah 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 blah? Right? Okay. 2. Brooke has a history of hurting Savannah specifically. And there should be evidence. Like, this ties back to why I think Savannah shouldn't have lied to her mom on the night of when she got back from the party of the century. Because if she told her mom about the wound, like why she got the real reason why she got the wound, she could have used that as evidence to show that Brooke has a history of trying to hurt her specifically, physically. Especially since, like, both Savannah's friends were there and Brooke's friends were there, and Tom and Sage. So there's witnesses that saw her get hurt that night. And also Sage brought her to the hospital after, so there should be some form of a hospital record of that happening. Meaning, if she could go back, get people to vouch for her, right? Saying that, yeah, Brooke hurt her in the past. And, find, like, the hospital records of her going to the hospital the day of the party of the century as proof that she did have to get stitches and stuff. And then her mom knew the truth and could also vouch for her. Then she'd have a bit of evidence to prove that Brooke has a history of trying to hurt her. Another thing is during Operation Fry the Sausage is literally a plan. I don't know if they wrote down the whole plan specifically, but they did write down like parts of the plan while texting each other and stuff. If she could find a way to gain physical proof of the fact they were trying to do that to her, they could also prove that Brooke has a history of antagonizing Savannah, because Preparation Fry the Sausage included them getting, I think, expired eggs, like old eggs, black hair dye, and like hair cream remover, hair remover cream, whatever. So yeah, that also would be proof. Another thing is that why didn't she try to go to the school and ask for camera footage? Like, Orange County Day is supposed to be a more prestigious school. A lot of people that go there are like more on the richer side. So like, they should be prestigious enough to have cameras and therefore have footage of what really happened in the hallway, right? So why not have your parents go down to the school and ask for footage of what happened so they can use it in court? Because with all that other stuff, it could be very helpful. Like, all that stuff combined, it would be pretty helpful for Savannah to prove that because Brooke has a history of trying to hurt her, that the fight they had at school was another case of Brooke trying to hurt Savannah, and therefore Savannah was justified in hitting Brooke because that would have definitely been self-defense. Because she knows from experience what could happen if she lets Brooke antagonize her. So, yeah. I don't remember if I had any other stuff that could aid in like my theory, because I have talked about this theory before, I think, on TikTok. So yeah, I guess I can go back to that video later. Whatever. Next theory. Brooke's friend Alicia is actually secretly very smart and just pretends to be dumb. My reasoning for this is because on the night of the party of the century, after Brooke scratches Savannah's face so hard she has to get stitches and stuff, Angelina ends up breaking up the argument. It's like, hey, everyone, stop fighting, and goes up to everyone and has them one by one explain their side of the situation of what's happening. And the way Alicia goes about it is very smart and like mature, right? But that's the only time she's seen being smart and mature, which makes me feel like she's probably one of those people who like pretends to be a bimbo, but in reality is actually really smart and just decides not to act smart. To like save her energy, like is only act smart in situations where she really needs to be. Because also like think about it. How would she be surviving at school if she was truly as dumb as she makes herself out to be? Like she goes to I get she's rich, so I understand why she'd still be in a prestigious school. But like for her to keep going and continuing to get higher and higher into high school, she'd have to be smart enough to pass a few classes at least, you know. So yeah. Her reasoning for being dumb in this case, I don't know. Maybe she just feels like it. Maybe just feels like it. I don't know. Next theory, Brick is low-key an attention seeker because her mommy issues. I feel like some of her part of the reason why she's clinging on to popularity so much is because that's the only way she truly gets attention. Without her being popular, not only would her life go back to normal and therefore she wouldn't get as much attention as from people, but like she doesn't get attention from her mom at home. She barely does. Her mom is barely there, and when she is there, she's always taking calls, talking to other people. So the only time she's really getting any type of validation or attention from people is when she's at school, right? But the only way she can get a large amount of validation to try to, or large enough of it to try to make up for the fact that her mom doesn't give any, she has to be super popular. And I feel like this is part of the reason why she was so as angry as she was with Savannah for getting popular, and because like if all the attention is being put on Savannah and not her, then now she's just not getting any attention at all. Not at school or at home. So, yeah. That is my thoughts about LPS Popular for now. I really like the series. It's very fun and entertaining to watch, and I have watched it multiple times, including with my friends. And I've also watched the remake. So, if I feel like I might make a video about my thoughts and opinions on the remake too. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this. Me having my little yap session. Bye. Make me swear. Make me